Greetings, my friends. This is Stan Hustad. Once again, we are on the run and we're on the go, and we're trying to discover ways that we know, hopefully believe will, maybe you can help us discover what it takes. In whatever activity or whatever achievement we're trying to bring into the world that will do good, what does it take? What it takes. What I'd like to do today in this brief presentation is to give you some of our understandings about what it will take to, here we go. It is truly startup time. We have been shut down, but now it's startup time in the COVID-19 crisis, and literally everything will change in some way. And that includes you and your work and your business and your relationships. It will be a major turning point, not only in our own personal lives, but obviously in the lives of whatever nation or place we live. Indeed, the world will be significantly changed by this event where we thought 2020 would be, let's go get them. And what we discovered is 2020 is a year when now we are not in a go-get-em mood. We are in let's figure out how we're going to live, survive, and hopefully thrive. Here's what we have discovered in our work together with people around the world. First of all, if we're going to make it, we're going to have to learn what are the new realities about life and our particular career and our particular business. Now, I'll be very blunt with you. Some of the realities for lots of people are not good at all. I told one person, I said, you're out of business. You're out of business for at least 18 to 24 months, and I don't know if you'll be able to make it. And he just looked at me and said, I think you're right. Okay. Here's the definition of a leader, at least by one man's understanding. He said, the job of a leader is to define reality. To define reality for our business, for each and every one of us, and then help us all to decide and then do what we are called to do, what we must do, what we should do, what would be good to do, what will help us be great at what we do in light of the new realities. Now, I can't tell you all of the realities there are in the world that might affect you, but you need to figure out what are the new realities that we're going to have to deal with. What are they? And see if we can make some good decisions. Okay, first, new realities. Second, you're going to have to do some recovery work. Now, oftentimes when you say a person is in recovery, it's that, something has gone wrong, either in their health or their physical or emotional well-being or some addiction, and now they're in recovery. And that doesn't mean they're back where they want to be. That means they're trying to get someplace that is good and away from where they are or where they were. Now, you are in recovery. Whatever your deal is. Unless you are one of those few people who this particular situation has literally enhanced you. Someone said the Zoom people have obviously had a good time. Their business is zooming because of what has happened. But for most of us, we're in situations where we're going to have to go through a recovery. And part of the recovery is that some of the things we were doing don't work anymore. Maybe some of the things we were doing we shouldn't have been doing. Maybe some of the things that we thought were important are no longer important. So what is your recovery plan? Now, I'll kind of put a little bit of a quote, in-your-face spiritual insight. I oftentimes say that one of the ways you recover a business is for you to somewhat do what my traditional Catholic friends have often done, and which we're all called to do. And you simply have to go to confession and say, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. Now, sin doesn't mean you were bad. It means you missed the mark. It means you shouldn't have done that. It didn't work out. It wasn't correct. all of us have done some things that we may need to confess and say, we shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have done that. We were slow. We were overconfident. We weren't thinking. Certainly this was a black swan, but how many businesses have black swan plans? Well, I can tell you, hardly any. Most of them forecast a future of great possibility and probability, and they try to convince themselves of that, and of course they're investors, and obviously they try to encourage their colleagues and encourage their customers to believe that. What is your recovery plan? It is also going to have to mean that you're going to have to start over. This is where I, as the entrepreneur and an entrepreneurial coach, that's why we call our radio program What It Takes, the Master Entrepreneur. We're going to have to re-entrepreneur our business. In some cases, it is almost the blank sheet. Who are we called to serve? Not what are we called to build or buy. What are we called to do with our business? Who are we called to serve? Who are the customers? What are the things they want? What are the things they need? What are the things they would be willing to buy? Re-entrepreneur your business. That's where we can really help you. You need to go through a number of the entrepreneurial steps which have changed and which you perhaps have done before, but they have changed in such a way that you literally need someone to come in and say, as one of my friends did, Stan, 20 years ago, you helped me start a very, very successful business, and now we're in big trouble. It's not our fault necessarily, but it might be. Please come in and help us re-entrepreneur the business like what we had, as best as we can what we had. But this time, maybe we need to make it more than what we had. Is that a possibility? So the new realities, the recovery, the re-entrepreneur. Relationships. That's the vital one. Your relationships with your customer, your relationships with your colleagues, the relationships with your vendors and your suppliers, all of that, particularly in a global economy and with the Chinese situation. What are the relationships for vendors and manufacturing and for outsourcing and for the colleagues who now may work all around the world or who may work at home? I had one guy, at least I heard of him, who said that this work at home is working out so well that for him at least, he's wondering if he should even reopen his office. Maybe he doesn't need the rent and the hassle of an office. And it seems that his colleagues are finding it works quite well, particularly with the new realities that are possible. Maybe that's, in effect, everything has changed in terms of social distancing, how we interact, what kind of crowds we have, how we do business. We're going to have really not human resources. We're going to have a human relationship genius. And sometimes the HR people are not really good at that. I'm sorry, but that has not been my experience. Who are the human relationships that we have to revise, redo, and renew? Number 5, I'm prejudiced, because I've been saying this for a long time. I'm on the radio. I've been on the radio for 40 years. This is radio. This is radio with pictures. Zoom is radio. The internet conferencing is radio. Podcasting is radio. And there are new radio realities. You better know how to be a broadcaster. You better know how to be a performer. You have to understand that every business is now in the radio and television business. And I've been saying for some time, and people have ignored me, have a broadcast system in your space area, It is part of who you are and what you do. And if you don't have your own, hire one like me to make it and create it for you. I told one of my good friends as he was building a new office, I said, include a studio right in your office space, your new office, with the green screen, with the video camera, with the recording equipment. So right at the moment, you can create podcasts, you can create video programs, you can create all kinds of radio outreaches, you can have video conferencings that don't come across as junk, but you literally know that that video conference is very much like a radio and television program, and you better make it good. Because as I teach you in radio, they don't have to keep listening. They can turn you off, they can ignore you. They are not stuck there with you. The new radio realities, you better learn them. And let me tell you something. Some of the worst people about the new radio realities are the people in radio. They think they know what will work, and they don't know. Because the new radio realities of on-demand internet radio is far different from the towers and transmitters that they have and have had in the past, which are now on the verge of becoming scrap metal. That's the way it is. New reality. I also want you to understand that you have to come to some new realizations. Here's something we have to realize. We can't do it by ourselves. We need others. We're not in control. One of my friends has said, God helps those who realize they can't help themselves. Think about that. God helps those who realize they can't help themselves. They're not in control anymore. Step one of recovery for the AA guy, the AA woman is, I've messed it up and I can't fix it. I can't do it. I need someone to help me. I need God. I need someone to help me. So you're not able to do it by yourself. You're never going to be fully in control. And I'm simply going to say is you better find the spiritual and emotional and relational resources to be in touch with the spirit and the powers that are outside of you and outside of our oftentimes usual human and business experience. Yeah. I said to one guy, why don't you learn to pray? Sit still, shut up, listen, and then talk, speak, ask. Hey, maybe that's the first thing you need to do. Sit still, be quiet, listen, and seek the wisdom of the entire universe, the spirit force that can make reality, discovery, recovery, re-entrepreneuring, relationships strong and good and well connected. Along with that, and with somebody like me, you can learn the new radio realities, and more, you will come to the realizations that are new and perhaps useful and practical that you never knew before. My hope and prayer for many of you is that these truly are. They are the worst of times. But in looking back, you may look back and say, don't want to go through it again. But in some ways, these bad times were also the best of times. As one of my writer friends says, actually, the best part of your end-of-life book and story is one that you didn't like living through. But it's something that you can now look back on and see the learning, perhaps find the joy, and something that you can leave as a legacy to others. I wish that for you. This is just one of our many What It Takes presentations, and we'll be back with more of them. All the best and blessings to you. Stan Hustad at gmail.com, stanhustad@gmail.com. Check us out. We can help you. All of the things we talked about, we have some wisdom, we have some insight, we have some truth, and we can help you. We would encourage you right now to seek wisdom, courage, and kindness in your life and business experience. Take care. I'm Stan. Bye for now.